I want to translate you are the placebo. You are the placebo, making your mind matter. The incredible results I have seen in the advanced workshop I offered and all the scientific data that has come out of that have led to me the idea of placebo. సో ఒక అద్భుతమైనటువంటి ఫలితాలు నేను చూశాను నా యొక్క వర్క్షాప్లో. అండ్ I offered and all scientific data has come out of headlight to be the idea of placebo. నేను ఈ ప్లేస్బోకి సంబంధించి అంత సైంటిఫిక్ డేటాను చూపిస్తున్నాను అనమాట, చూశాను అనమాట. హౌ పీపుల్ కెన్ టేక్ ఏ షుగర్ ఫిల్ ఆర్ ఏ గెట్ ఏ సెలైన్ ఇంజెక్షన్ అండ్ దెన్ దేర్ బిలీఫ్ ఇన్ సంథింగ్ అవుట్ సైడ్ ఆఫ్ దెమ్సెల్స్ మేక్ దెమ్ గెట్ బెటర్. ఎలాగా బయట ఒక షుగర్ ఫిల్ కానీ, అంటే ఒక తీపి మాత్ర కానీ, ఒక సెలైన్ ఇంజెక్షన్ కానీ తీసుకుంటే, అది అవుట్ సైడ్గా తీసుకుంటే ఎలాగ వాళ్ళని బెటర్ చేస్తుంది అనే దాన్ని హౌ పీపుల్ క్యాన్ టేక్, ఎలా తీసుకుంటారు షుగర్ పిన్ ఆర్ గెట్ ఎ సెలైన్ ఇంజెక్షన్, దెన్ దే బిలీఫ్ ఇన్ సంథింగ్ అవుట్ సైడ్ ఆఫ్ దెమ్సెల్స్ మేక్ దెమ్ బెటర్ అవ్వడం కోసం. ఐ బిగాన్ టు ఆస్క్ మై సెల్ఫ్, నా గురించి నేను అడుగుతున్నాను. I began to ask myself, what if people begin to believe in themselves instead of something outside of themselves? What if they believe that they can change something inside of them and move themselves to the same state of being someone who is taking a placebo? Is not that what our workshop and participants have been in doing in order to get better? ఏం చేస్తున్నారు? Isn't it what our workshop participants have been doing in order to get better? సో మన వర్క్షాప్లో వాళ్ళు ఏం హ్యావ్ బీన్ డూయింగ్ ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు గెట్ బెటర్, ఏం చేస్తున్నారు? సో మరి కాస్త డూ పీపుల్ రియల్లీ నీడ్ ఏ పిల్, నిజంగా వాళ్ళకి ఒక పిల్ అవసరమా? ఆర్ ఇంజెక్షన్ టు చేంజ్ దేర్ స్టేట్ ఆఫ్ బీయింగ్. సో వాళ్ళ అంటే ఒక వ్యాధిని నయం చేసుకోవడం కోసం నిజంగా అవుట్ నుంచి మెడిసిన్ అవసరమా, లేదా తనలో తాను శరీరం నయం చేసుకోగలదా? కెన్ వీ టీచ్? సో డూ పీపుల్ రియల్లీ నీడ్ ఏ పిల్ ఆర్ ఇంజెక్షన్ టు చేంజ్ దేర్ స్టేట్ ఆఫ్ బీయింగ్? సో కెన్ వీ టీచ్ పీపుల్ టు అకాంప్లిష్ ద సేమ్ థింగ్ బై టీచింగ్ దెమ్ హౌ ప్లేసిబో రియల్లీ వర్క్స్? సో కెన్ వీ టీచ్, మనం టీచ్ చేయగలమా people to accomplish the same thing by teaching them how people placebo really works, ఏ విధంగా వర్క్ అవుతుందో. ఆఫ్టర్ ఆల్ ద షేక్ హ్యాండిలింగ్ who drinks stericine and has no biological effect certainly has changed the state of being. అంటే ఒక పాములు పట్టేవాడు తనకు పాము కుట్టిన ఏమాత్రము బయాలజికల్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అవ్వట్లేదు. సో చూసారా? సో రైట్, యూ విల్ రీడ్ మోర్ అబౌట్ దిస్ ఇన్ ది ఫస్ట్ చాప్టర్. సో ఇఫ్ వీ కెన్ దెన్ బిగాన్ టు మెజర్ వాట్స్ టేకింగ్ ప్లేస్ ఇన్ ద బ్రెయిన్ అండ్ లుక్ at all this information, can we teach people how to do it themselves? వాళ్ళకు వాళ్ళు ఎలా నయం చేయొచ్చు, మనం టీచ్ చేయొచ్చా? సో హియర్ he mentioned we teach people, can we teach people how to do it themselves without relying on something outside of them? బాహ్యమైనటువంటి ఏ మెడిసిన్స్ కానీ, ఏ విధమైన ఇంజెక్షన్ కానీ అవసరం లేకుండానే మనకున్న వ్యాధుల్ని మనం ఇన్సైడ్లో మార్చుకోవచ్చా? హాయ్, సో बोलिए टेल मी इन इंग्लिश. आई डोंट नो, आई नो वेरी लिटिल हिंदी. सो मेरा हमारा आंध्र प्रदेश है, मेरा नाम राम्स है. बोलिए इन तेलुगु और इंग्लिश. आई कैन स्पीक इन इंग्लिश बेटर. कैन we teach them that they are placebo? In other words, can we convince them instead of investing their belief in unknown, and like sugar pill or saline injection. They can place their belief in the unknown and make the known unknown to known. So, and really, that's what this book is about, empowering you to realize that you will have all biological and neurological machinery to exactly that. So, and really that what this book is about. ఏంటి ది బుక్ యు ఆర్ ద ప్లేస్ అనేది దేని గురించి? సో యు ఆర్ ద ప్లేస్ బుక్ ఎంపవరింగ్ యూ, నిన్ను అభివృద్ధి పరచడానికి, మెరుగుపరచడానికి, టు యూ రియలైజ్ దట్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఆల్ ద బయలాజికల్ అండ్ న్యూరాలజికల్ మెషనరీ టు ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ that. So my goal is to demystify these concepts with a new science of way thing really are, so that it is within the reach of for people to change their internal state in order to create a positive change in their health, hmm, and in their external world. Okay, if that sound too amazing to be true, so then I have said towards the end of the book, you will see some of the research compiled from our workshop to show you exactly how it is possible. He wants to show about, so how to cure ourselves with our in mind. సో వాట్ దిస్ బుక్ ఈజ్ అబౌట్, దేని గురించి? ఐ వాంట్ టు టేక్ జస్ట్ ఎ మూమెంట్ టు టాక్ అబౌట్ ఫ్యూ థింగ్స్. that this book is not about to clear up any potential misconception right from the start. For one, you won't read here about the ethics of using placebo in the medical treatment. So you won't read, మీరు చదవలేదు, here about the ethics of using placebo in the treatment. That's a much debate about the moral correctness of treating a patient who is not a part of medical trial, so with a inert substance. While a discussion about whether the end and justify such a means may well be worthwhile in the border of conversion about the placebos. That issue is completely separate from the message this book aims to deliver. Uh, that issue is completely separate from the message this book aims to deliver. You are the placebo is about putting you in the driver's seat of creating your own change anamata. So not about whether or not okay or for other people tricky to you into you. So this book is also not about denial. None of the methods you will read about here involving denying whatever health condition you may presently have. Whatever health condition presently have. Much to contrary, this book is all about transforming illness and diseases. My interest is in the measuring the changes people make when they move from sickness to health. Instead of being about rejecting reality, you are the placebo is about projecting what's possible when you step into a new reality. You will discover that honest feedback in the form of medical test will inform you if what you are doing is working. Once you see the effect you have created, you can pay attention to what you did to arrive at the end and to do it again. And if what you are doing is not working, then it's a time to change it until it is. So that's a combining science and spirituality. Daniel, on the other hand, occurs when you are not looking at the reality of what happening within and around you. This book also won't question the effici- efficacy of various healing modalities. Many different modalities exist, and many of them work quite well. All of them have some type measurable beneficial effect in the least some people. But a complete cataloging of these methods is not what I want to focus on this in this book. My purpose here is to introduce you to particular modalities that has most captured my attention. Healing yourself through thought alone. I encourage you to continue using any and all healing modalities that work for you. Be they prescription drugs, surgery, acupuncture, uh, chiropractic, biofeedback, mm, uh, therapeutic massage, nutritional supplements, yoga, flexology, energy medicine, sound therapy, and so on. You are the placebo is not about rejecting anything except your own self imposed limitations. So you are the placebo. What's inside this book? This book name, you are the placebo. Now I want to share what is the inside in this book. So ఈ బుక్లో ఏముందో మనం నేర్చుకుందాం. You are the placebo is divided into two parts. Part 1 gives you all the detailed knowledge and background information you need to be able to understand what the placebo effect is. So, first part 1 gives you all the detailed knowledge and background information you need to be able to understand what the placebo effect is and how it operates in your brain and body, as well as how to create the same kind of miraculous change in your own brain and body all by yourself and by thought alone. సో మీ యొక్క ఆలోచన ద్వారా మీ లోపల ఎలా మెరాక్యులస్ చేసుకోవచ్చో మనకి చెప్తున్నారు. స్టార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద బుక్ బై షేరింగ్ సమ్ ఇన్క్రెడిబుల్ స్టోరీస్. ఈ యొక్క బుక్ మొదటి నుంచి కూడా ఒక అద్భుతమైన స్టోరీస్ను ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తున్నాను. డిమాన్స్ట్రేటింగ్ ద అమేజింగ్ పవర్ ఆఫ్ ద హ్యూమన్ మైండ్. అద్భుతమైనటువంటి పవర్ ఉంది, అమేజింగ్ మైండ్, పవర్ ఆఫ్ హ్యూమన్ మైండ్. Some of these tales related to how people's thoughts have healed them, and others show how people's thought have actually made them sick. So you will read about a man who died after hearing he had cancer, even though his autopsy revealed that he had been misdiagnosed. A woman plagued by depression of his for decades who impressed dramatically during an antidepressant and drug trial, despite the fact that she was in the group of receiving a placebo, and a handful veterans and hobbled by osteoarthritis who were miraculous cure by fake knee surgery. You will even read some starting line story about voodoo cures and snake handling. My purpose in sharing these dramatic stories is to show the wide range of what the human mind is capable of doing all on its own, without any help from modern medicine. And hopefully it will lead you to question how is it possible, how is it possible to cure all diseases, so without any medicine or without any injection or without any surgery. So we have a potential to cure our body. He explained how it is possible in that book. That book name, You Are the Placebo. You Are the Placebo is a very wonderful book. Chapter 2 gives a brief story of placebo, tracing accounts of related to scientific discoveries from the 1970s. Doctors used a magnet to induce what he thought were therapeutic all the way through the modern day, and the neuroscientists solving exciting mystery about interactive how the mind works. You will meet a doctor who developed the techniques of uh, hypnosis. There's a hypnotism after arriving late for appointment only to find his waiting patients mesmerizing by lamp flame. A World War II surgeon who successfully used a saline injection as an analgesic or wondered solely when he ran out the morphine. And early psychoneuroimmunology research in Japan who switched poison ivy leaves with the harmless leaves and found that their test group react more. What they were told me they were experienced than to what they actually did experience. You will also read about how Norman Cousin loved himself to health. Oh, you also read about how Norman Cousins loved himself to health, how Harvard researchers Herbert Benson, MD, was able to reduce cardiac patients' risk factor for heart disease by figuring out how transcendental meditation work out. How Italian neuroscientist Benjamin MD, PhD, and prime subjects who had been giving a drug and then switched the drug for placebo. Watched the brain continue to signal and the production of the same neurochemical the drug produced without interruption. So you will also read striking a new study that is a real game changer. It shows that in irritable bowel syndrome, patients were able to dramatically improve their symptoms by taking placebos, even though they knew full well that the medication they were given as a placebo, not an active drug. Hi, friends, very good listener. Well done. We'll take you through psychology of what happens in your brain when the placebo effect is operating. You will read that in one sense the placebo works because you can embrace or entertain a new thought that you can be well, and then is used it to replace the thought you will always be sick. That means you can change your thinking from unconsciously predicating that your future is in your same familiar to fast beginning at anticipate the expect a new potential outcome. So if you agree with ideas, then it means that you will have examined how you think, what the mind is, how these things affect the body. I will explain how, as long as you're thinking the same thoughts, they will lead to the same choice, which cause the same behavior, which create the same experience, which produce the same emotion, which in turn drive the same thoughts, so that neurochemical you stay the same. The in fact, you are reminding yourself who you think you are. So, but hold on. You are not hardwired to be same way for the rest of your life. You will then explain the concept of neuroplasticity. How we now know that brain is incapable of changing throughout our lives, creating a new neural pathways and neural connections. Chapter 4 moves into the discussion of placebo effect in the body, explaining the next step of psychology and placebo response. Starts our telling the story of a group of elder men who attend a weekend retreat, a step of the Harvard research who asked the man to pretend they were 20 years younger. By the end of the week, the man had made neuro measurable psychology change, all turning back the clock on their bodies. You will learn the secret behind how they did it. To explain that, the chapter also discusses what genes are and how they signal in the body. You will learn how the relatively new and exciting science of epigenetic has basically touched the old school idea that your genes are destiny by teaching us that the mind is truly instructed new genes to behave in new way. You will discover how the body has elaborate mechanism for tuning some genes on and others off, which means that you are not doomed to express whatever genes you have inherited. This you can learn how to change your neural wiring to select new genes and create a real physical change. You will also read about how our bodies access the stem cells, the physical matter that's behind many placebo effect miracles, to make a new healthy cells in areas that have been changed. So, ties the previous two chapters together explaining how thoughts can change. So, change your brain and your body. It begins by asking the question, if your environment changes and you then signal new genes in new way, is it possible to signal the new genes and end of changing the actual environment? I will then explain how you can use a technical called a mental rehearsal to combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion in order to experience the new future event in the present moment. The key is making your inner thoughts more real than the outer environment, because then the brain won't know the difference between the two and will change you to look if the event has taken place. If you are able to do this successfully enough times, you will transform your body and begin to active new genes in new way, producing epigenetic changes. Just as the imagined future event were real, then you can walk right into the new reality and become a placebo. Just as though the imagined future event were real, future event were real. Then you can walk right into that new reality and come the placebo. This chapter not only outlines the science behind how this happened, but also includes stories of many public figures from different walks of life who have used this technique to make their wildest dreams of come true. E da ko ti shi shiko nam, which concentrate on the concept of suggestibility, begins with a fascinating bit chilling story of how a team of researchers set out to set whether the regular, law abiding, and mental healthy person who was highly suggestible to hypnosis could be programmed into the something he or she would normally be in unthinkable short range with the intent to kill. You will see that people have different degrees of susceptibility, and the more susceptibility you are, the better able to you are to begin access your subconscious mind. That this is a key to understand placebo, because the conscious mind is only 5% of who we are. The remaining 95% is set of subconscious programmed states in which the body has come mind. You will learn that you must get beyond the analytic mind and enter into the operating system of your subconscious program. If you want your new thoughts to result in new outcomes, change your genetic destiny, as well as learn how meditation is a powerful tool for doing just that. The chapter ends with a brief discussion of different brain waves stated which are most conducive to become more suggestible. Seventh chapter is all about how attitudes and beliefs and perceptions change your state of being and create your personality, your personal reality, and how you can shift them to create a new reality. You will read about the power that unconscious beliefs exert and have a chance to identify some of those beliefs you have been harboring without realizing it. You will also read about how environment and your associated memories can subordinate your ability to change your beliefs. You will explain more fully that in order to for you to change your beliefs and perceptions, you must combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion that condition your body to believe that the future potential that you selected from the quantum field has already happened. The elevated emotion is vital because only when your choice carries an amplitude of energy that's greater than the hardwired programs, your brain and your emotional addiction in your body will you able to change your brain's circuitry and your body genetic expressions, as well as recondition your body to new mind. So, erasing any trace of old neurocircuitry and conditionary, erasing any trace of the neurocircuitry and condition. So, you will introduce you to quantum universe, the unpredictable world of matter and energy that makes up the atoms and molecules of everything in the universe, which turn out to really be more energy than solid matter. The quantum model, which states that all possibilities that exist in the present moment, is your key to using placebo effect for healing. The quantum model, which states that all possibilities exist in this present moment, is your key to using your placebo effect for healing, because it gives you permission to choose a new future for yourself and actually observe it into reality. You will then understand just how possible it really is to cross the river of change and make the unknown to known. So introduce you to the three people from my workshops. You have reported some truly remarkable results from using these same techniques to change their health for better. First, you will meet the Lori, who at age 19 was diagnosed with a rare degenerative bone disease that her doctor told her was incurable. Although the bones in left gap and hip suffered 12 major fractures over several decades, leaving her dependent on crutches for getting around. Today, she walks perfectly normal without even needing a cane. Her x rays show no evidence of any fractures in her bones. I will introduce you to Candace, who was diagnosed with a Hashimoto's disease. నేను పరిచయం చేస్తాను. దెన్ ఐ విల్ ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ యూ, నేను నీకు పరిచయం చేస్తాను టు క్యాండేస్ హూ వాజ్ డయాగ్నైజ్డ్ with a Hashimoto's disease. Hashimoto's disease, a serious thyroid condition, okay, with a host of complication. During a time in her life when she was resentful and full of rage, Candy's doctor told her she had to take a medication for the rest of her life. But she proved him wrong after she eventually was able to turn her condition around. Today, Candace is totally in love with the brand new life and takes no medicine for her thyroid, which blood test and show completely normal. సో ఇక్కడ ఏం చెప్తున్నారు, టుడే క్యాండేస్ ఈజ్ టోటలీ ఇన్ లవ్, చాలా గాఢమైన ప్రేమలో ఉంది. విత్ ఎ బ్రాండ్ న్యూ లైఫ్, తన జీవితంతో గాఢమైన ప్రేమలో ఉంది. అండ్ టేక్స్ నో మెడిసిన్, ఏ విధమైనటువంటి మందులు తీసుకోలేదు. ఫర్ హెర్ థైరాయిడ్ విచ్ బ్లడ్ టెస్ట్ షోస్ కంప్లీట్లీ నార్మల్. ఇప్పుడు ఒక కంప్లీట్లీ నార్మల్కి వచ్చిందంట. Finally, you will meet John, a mother of 5, who was a successful businesswoman and entrepreneur whom many considered a superwoman. Before she collapsed quite suddenly, was diagnosed with an advanced form of multi-scissors condition, went downhill quickly, and she was eventually unable to move her legs. When she first came to my workshop, she made only small changes until one day when the woman who had moved her legs in years walked around the room completely unhesitated after just 1 hour long meditation. So chapter 10 shares more remarkable stories from workshop patients along with the brain scans that go with them. You will meet Michael, who turned her Parkinson disease round, and John Paraligi, who stood up from the wheelchair after meditation. You will read how Kathy, a CEO living on the fast track, learned to find the present moment, and how Boone healed herself firehoods and heavy menstrual bleeding. Finally, you will meet the Genevieve, who went into such a state of blessing in meditation that tears of joy ran down her face, and Maria, whose experience can only be described as having an organs in her brain. I will show you that the data my team of scientists collected from these people's brains can, so that you can see the change we witnessed in real time during the workshops. The best part of all this data is that it proves you won't have to be a monk or nun. ద బెస్ట్ పార్ట్ ఏంటి, ఆల్ ఆఫ్ దీస్, వీటన్నిటిలోనూ ఒక అత్యుత్తమైనటువంటి భాగం ఏమిటి, ద బెస్ట్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ డేటా, ఈ ఆటల్లో వీ డేటా యొక్క అన్నిటిలో ముఖ్య భాగం ఏమిటంటే, ఇట్ ప్రూవ్స్ యూ వోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు బి మాంక్ ఆర్ నన్. మీరు ఏమో ఒక మాంక్ కానీ నన్ కానీ అవ్వాల్సిన లేదు. A scholar, a scientist, or spiritual leader to accomplish similar feats. You won't need a PhD, ఏ విధమైన PhD అవసరం లేదు, or a medical degree, ఏ విధమైన medical degree అవసరం లేదు. The folks in this book are ordinary people like you. After reading this chapter, you will understand that what these people did is not a magic. ఒక మ్యాజిక్ ఏం కాదు, or even all the miraculous They simply learned and applied the teachable skills. ఆయన నేర్చుకొని అప్లై చేసుకున్నారు వాళ్ళ జీవితాల్లో. అండ్ ఇఫ్ యూ ప్రాక్టీస్ దీస్ సేమ్ స్కిల్స్ యూ విల్ బీ ఏబుల్ టు మేక్ ద సిమిలర్ చేంజ్. మీరు కూడా ఇవి ప్రాక్టీస్ చేసినట్లయితే మీరు కూడా అలాంటి చేంజెస్ మీలోకి అడుగుతాయని చెప్తున్నాడు. సో దిస్ బుక్ ఈజ్ ఆల్ అబౌట్ మెడిటేషన్. పార్ట్ 2 includes chapter 11 which outline of some simple preparation steps for meditation and goes over specific techniques you will find helpful, and chapter 12 which gives you step by step instruction uh, for using meditation techniques ivi, which gives you step by step instruction for using meditation techniques I teach in my workshops. The very same techniques that participants use to produce remarkable results you will have the read about early in the book. I am happy to say that although we don't have all answers yet about harnessing the power of the placebo, so all sorts of people are actually using these ideas right now make extraordinary changes in their lives. The kind of change that many others consider practically impossible. The techniques I shared in this book need not be limited to heal a physical condition. The techniques I shared in this book need not be limited to heal a physical condition. They can also be applied to improve any aspect of your life. My hope is that, నా ఆశ ఏమిటంటే, దిస్ బుక్ విల్ ఇన్స్పైర్ యూ. ఈ పుస్తకం మిమ్మల్ని ఒక ప్రేరేపిస్తుంది టు ట్రై దీస్ టెక్నిక్స్. ఈ యొక్క టెక్నిక్స్ ప్రయత్నించాలని. అండ్ టు మేక్ పాసిబుల్ ఇన్ యువర్ లైఫ్, పాసిబుల్ చేయటానికి సేమ్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ సీమింగ్లీ ఇంపాసిబుల్ చేంజెస్. ఏవైతే ఇంపాసిబుల్గా అనిపించాయో వాటిని పాసిబుల్గా మార్చే టెక్నిక్స్ ఇందులో ఉన్నాయి. ట్రై చేయమని చెప్తున్నారు. So introduction, making mind matters. Chapter 1 into chapter 2 into chapter 3, chapter 4. Is it possible? Sam Landon, a retired shoe salesman living outside of St. Louis in the early 1970s, began to have a difficulty swallowing. He even actually went to see a doctor who discovered that Landon had esophageal cancer. In those days, metastatic esophageal cancer was considered incurable, so no one had ever served. It was a death sentence, and London doctor delivered the news in any appropriately somber tone to give a London as much as time possible. The doctor recommended surgery to remove a cancer tissue in the esophagus and the stomach where the cancer had spread. Trusting the doctor, Landy agreed. Had surgery he came through as well as could be expected. But things soon went from the bad to worse. A scan of Landy liver revealed still more bad news. Extensive cancer throughout the liver's entire left lobe. The doctor said best he had only months to live. So Landy and his new wife, both in their 70s, arranged to move 300 miles to Nashville, where London's wife had family. Soon after the move to Tennessee, London was admitted to hospital and assigned to internist Clifton Meadow. The first time Dr. Maida walked into the London's room. He found a small, unshaven man cured. Underneath a mound of flowers, a small, unshaven man cured. So the nurse explained that he had been like a since his admission of new days before, while Lon had high school blood glucose levels due to the diabetes. The rest of his blood chemistry was fairly normal except for slightly higher level of liver enzymes, which was able to expect of some with liver cancer. Further medical examination showed nothing more than a smish. A blessing considering patient disparative condition. Under his new doctor's order, Lundy D. Grew Dingley received physical therapy, a fortified and liquid diet, a lots of nursing care and attention. After a few days, he grew a little stronger and his grumpiness started to subside. He began talking to Dr. Miodon about his life.